to approve the agenda.
All those in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Confirmation of the minutes of our last meeting. Councillor Reid?
The minutes of our last meeting.
All those in favor of that? Carried. Thank you. Right into bylaws. Bylaw 03, 2019 Sunset Ridge Stage 2 Area Structure Plan. Mr. Weldon.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor Genung and members of council, and Happy New Year to you as well. Tonight I'm here to present to you proposed amendments to the Sunset Ridge Area Structure Plan for your consideration for first reading tonight. Now, this is related to another agenda item that you'll notice a little bit later on, which is the Sunset Stage 3 Neighborhood Plan. So just as a bit of familiarization with our hierarchy of planning documents, the area structure plan sits just above the neighborhood plan in terms of the hierarchy. So in normal circumstances, you have the area structure plan informing the neighborhood plan. But as a result of the work that's happened at the stage 3 neighborhood plan level, it has initiated some amendments at the area structure plan level, and I'm going to go through what those amendments are. And I'd just like to iterate that the majority, the vast majority of the proposed neighborhood plan does conform with the area structure plan. It's just there's some minor amendments that are needed. Firstly, the first amendment has to do with section 1.3, which is the adjacent land use. And I think as all of you are aware, there's an active application for annexation for the 40 acres to the north. So this is a bit of a textural change to the area structure plan to reflect that, that annexation proposal that will be completed here this year. So essentially in section 1.3, we're changing the wording to be that the shadow plan, the lands directly north of Sunset Ridge, that the 40-acre parcel directly north may be required in the future for the potential access point to the community. This land is currently within Rocky View County boundaries, so that will no longer be the case, obviously, once the land is annexed. So that text is being changed to this plan has shadow planned the lands directly north of Sunset Ridge. The 40-acre parcel directly north of Sunset Ridge was annexed by the town of Cochrane for the purpose of providing an additional access point to the community, and that the potential for future urban development will exist on this parcel. Now there's figure 2, which deals directly with the site plan for the area structure plan. This is just one of the maps that is to be changed, but essentially all of the maps and the figures in the current area structure plan will need to be amended to reflect that annexation of the 40 acres to the north. So essentially that's what's being shown here. Figure 5 relates directly to the design constraints and the considerations. So again, the boundaries being extended to the north to include those 40 acres. There's an added east-west road connection and the aligned green space link with the neighborhood plan, which you'll notice here. I'll just point out. You'll notice from the existing, it's going over to the east and then up. Essentially, that spine here, wow, I'm really shaky. I might have to, like, there we go, will essentially be extended into the North 40 as well. So that's a pretty minor change. Yeah. With the green space and the mobility, the boundary again, the green space link to reflect the neighborhood plan again directly north. We're taking away that east connection as it will expand into the north. And the changed arterial roadway to a primary collector. So essentially what that is in the area structure plan, this was to be an arterial, but due to the studies that we've done through the neighborhood plan, that is no longer needed, and this will be a primary collector rather than an arterial road. In section 8.6, which deals specifically with the Northlands, the objectives stay the same. The intro changes to reflect that the lands will be annexed, and essentially the policy, which states that the town will further investigate the access potential for the North 40 acres, changes to a bit more direction in terms of how who will be responsible for constructing the road, as well as some clarification on cost recoveries as well. And those are reflected in Policy 1 and Policy 2. The recommended action for you tonight is that Council give first reading to Bylaw 03/2019, and that Council establishes a public hearing for Monday, January 28th at 6 p.m. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah. Yeah. Councillor Wilson, would you like to move first reading?
I've got no questions, but I'll move first reading of the Council Bylaw 03/2019.
Okay. Any questions of council? No? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Councillor Flowers, you want to give the public hearing a motion?
I will move to hold the public hearing on January 28th at 6 p.m., 2019.
Great. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weldon. Bylaw 04. Don't jinx us. Bylaw 04, 2019, textual change.
Good evening, Mayor and members of Council. I am here this evening to present Bylaw 4, 2019 for first reading and to set a public hearing. Bylaw 4, 2019 is an administratively led textual amendment to the land use bylaw that affects two existing land uses, fitness studio and recreational vehicle storage. This is being brought forward this evening outside of the overall land use bylaw update due to an increase in development inquiries. The proposed amendments apply to the town as a whole. In 2014, fitness studio was defined as a distinct land use in the land use bylaw. It was defined as a development where space, equipment, or instruction is provided for activities related to physical well-being, such as dance, martial arts, yoga, and other forms of physical exercise. In 2015, the Downtown Heritage District was created and listed fitness studio as a permitted use. In 2016, fitness studio was added to the local commercial district through a land use amendment application. These amendments subsequently exclude fitness studio from being considered in other land use districts. As a result, Bylaw 4, 2019 is proposing to add the fitness studio use to 6 non-residential districts. The bylaw is also proposing a specific parking calculation for the fitness studio use, which is 1 parking stall per 20 meters squared of building space. The next couple slides will outline where the 6 districts are located and what is proposed. The bylaw is proposing that fitness studio be added as a discretionary use to the central business district, which is located within the downtown and is highlighted in bright red on the screen. Fitness studio is also being proposed as a permitted use in the shopping center district, which is mostly located in the quarry. There are 2 other shopping center parcels, one in South Bow Landing and one in Sunset Ridge. The commercial residential mixed-use district is located within the Fireside community as shown on the slide and along Center Avenue in the downtown. The bylaw is proposing that fitness studio be added as a discretionary use in this district. Fitness studio is also proposed as a discretionary use in the recreation commercial district, which is located in Riverview and Glen Eagles due to the golf courses. The Bow River's Edge Campground is also zoned recreation commercial. The bylaw is proposing that fitness studio be added as a permitted use in the service commercial district, which is highlighted in pink on the screen. These lots are located along Railway Street, shown in the image to the left, and on River Heights Drive is the image to the right. And finally, fitness studio is proposed as a discretionary use in the Business Park District, which is highlighted in purple and is located between Griffin Road East and the Bow River, south of Griffin Industrial Point. Bylaw 4, 2019 is also proposing changes to the recreational vehicle storage use. In 2016, recreational vehicle storage was defined and added as a site-specific use to the Public Service District through a land use amendment application. It was defined as an outdoor storage facility used for temporary storage of recreational units and non-commercial passenger vehicles when they are not in use. Bylaw 4, 2019 is proposing that recreational vehicle storage be added as a discretionary use to the General Industrial District, also known as M1. The bylaw also proposes that the parking area for the RV storage be surfaced to the satisfaction of the Development Authority. The General Industrial District is located between the railway to the north and Griffin Road to the, and south of Griffin Road, and east of Charlesworth Avenue as shown on the map. There are also parcels zoned general industrial within South Bow Landing and along River Heights Drive, adjacent to James Walker Trail. The proposed bylaw was circulated to internal departments, external agencies, and community associations. No concerns were received. The survey was posted on the Let's Talk webpage, and we did receive one response, which was about RV parking in residential areas. Administration is recommending option 1, that council give first reading to bylaw for 2019 and set a public hearing date for Monday, January 28th at 6 p.m. That concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Councillor Nagel, do you want to give first reading?
I move that we give first reading to bylaw 4, 2019.
No questions? No? Oh, question from Councillor Reid?
Just a clarification, I'm wondering why this is coming forth now, as opposed to when the bylaws or this whole land use bylaw is going to come forward as a big omnibus motion. Why now?
So through the mayor, to answer your question, Councillor Reid, this is coming forward outside of the overall bylaw update because we've been getting a lot of inquiries about people who want to open these businesses, and it doesn't quite fit in the districts that they want to where they want to open, and the bylaw is still going to be another year-ish out until it's finalized.
Okay, thank you. No more questions? All in favor of first reading? It's carried. Thank you.
Thanks.
Back to you, Councillor Fedayko, to set the public hearing date.
We set the public hearing date for
January 28th.
January 28th. Thank you. 6 o'clock.
Yeah. All those in favor of that? That is carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
New business for the new year. And I read somewhere that you can say Happy New Year until the 15th of January, so I'm saying it until tomorrow to people. After that, it's not a new year anymore. Sunset Ridge Stage 3, neighborhood plan. Mr. Weldon, you're back.
I am. Okay, good evening again. I'd like to present to you Sunset Ridge Stage 3 Neighborhood Plan for your consideration tonight. It's not unlike, although not adopted by bylaw, it's not unlike a first reading here tonight for your consideration and also to set a public hearing date. So just to get your bearings, it's located, Stage 3 Neighborhood Plan is located within the Sunset Ridge community that's existing here to the north of us. It is a transition, natural transition from the Stage 2 lands, which is located directly south, and it will almost complete, other than the 40 acres to the north, the Sunset Ridge community. Highway 22 is located to the west. Rocky View agricultural lands are located to the east directly. And as I mentioned earlier, the 40 acres for the annexation area is located directly to the north. The total area of the Sunset Ridge Stage 3 neighborhood plan is about 80 acres or 32 hectares. So tonight I'm going to focus mainly on some of the design features here for your consideration that's being proposed in Stage 3. Firstly, and some would argue most importantly, is the second access to Highway 22, which is identified here. So this will allow the completion of the Sunset Ridge and providing safe access for residents onto Highway 22. Also added is the off-leash dog park, which was identified as a key feature by the community itself, just located south of there. So the off-leash dog park is there. Located directly south is a storm pond, which was approved through the Stage 2 neighborhood plan, but will be constructed in Stage 3. And that is a naturalized open space amenity that is adjacent directly to the south of the dog park. There will be the completion of the Sunset Road Loop with an east-west internal road connection, and that is located right there. That will be named Sun Vista Road, and the loop will be Sunset Road, Sundown Road, and then Sun Valley Road will complete that circuit for that loop and then connect on to Sunset Boulevard as well. The neighborhood theming is a continuation from Stage 2 with special attention to the streetscapes and architectural controls. There is a linear park and pathway, which I believe I think Council has seen, I certainly have, which runs as a spine north-south through the entire community, so that will be completed, and it will culminate at a park at the north end. There is a diversity of housing types being proposed, including townhomes, single and semi-detached homes with both laned and non-laned products. There is enhanced pathway crossings to improve safety for the pedestrians, in particular at the linear pathway for the school site. And a community association facility will also be included in the overall school site that was dedicated during the Stage 2 neighborhood plan. And lastly, I guess just at the end is the links to the extensive community open space system, and that is this connection here down to the south. So I'm just going to highlight with some of the figures that you would have seen through the neighborhood plan. I've already mentioned that central spine. This is that central spine that is north-south that goes right through the heart of the community that ultimately connects the community together from a pedestrian perspective. And a very interesting and unique feature to here is the inclusion of fitness equipment along the way. So it is a paved pathway with park benches and rest areas, trees and landscaping, but also fitness equipment. And that's bookend at the south end and ultimately at the north end here, which is at this North Park. And so some of the features of that here is the inclusion of that fitness equipment. This is if you've ever walked in this area, it's a very spongy area. That can be used for yoga and for stretching and that sort of thing. The school site itself and the central park will be also included and constructed in this phase. There are some great features apart from the school itself and the soccer field. It's the inclusion of a community association building here, a park, or I should say a playground area with some slides, as well as the looped pathways. And the ice rink, and also the community garden here in the corner as well. There is the inclusion of an off-leash dog park, which was identified by the community as being an important amenity, and that is the proposed design. The neighborhood plan concept itself, you can see on the right, you'll see that is the proposed land use districts, as well as the street and block layout. It does include the single detached, semi-detached, and townhomes, as well as the municipal reserve, and identifies the areas that are laned and unlaned for those products as well. The external transportation network, as I mentioned earlier, you will have the second north access to the highway here and the future intersection. It identifies the existing emergency access as well as the existing all-turns access, and that is to be upgraded to a dual left-hand turn lane at a later date. The recommended action tonight for council is that council schedules a non-statutory public hearing on January 28th at 6 p.m. for the Sunset Ridge Stage 3 Neighborhood Plan. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any of your questions.
Councilor Reid, you have a motion?
That council would establish a non-statutory public hearing for Monday, January 28th at 6 o'clock. I'd like to just make a comment. You know, having sat on CPC for 5 years and been on council now for a year, having seen a lot of these proposals come forward, I've got to say that I'm really impressed with the detail and quality of this. And so kudos to both the developer and the town staff for being able to work to build a community that I think we can be proud of in Cochrane.
Good. Good comments. Councilor Federico?
Thank you for the presentation. I only have one quick question. Has the community had another, I guess, roundtable or open house about the proposal that's coming forward? Or is this going to be the first one, but has Melcor held a private one with residents?
Through Mayor Janung, yes, there was a number of meetings that was held by Melcor. I believe the last one was about a month plus ago. I think it was held here, just in the back room. Yeah, but that was the latest in a number of community engagement events that Melcor had held themselves. Yeah.
From that meeting a month ago, were there any concerns from the residents particular to this new access?
Particular with the new access, yeah, again through Mayor Janung. So my understanding is that most people were very happy with the access, that the access would be at its north location. There was an iteration earlier that had the access onto the highway being a little bit south, and that was dubbed as a more of an interim type of access. That access is now going to be at the north, and that was expressed at the open, or I guess at the community engagement events there, is that that desire to have it ultimately at that north location. Now, I guess it's just more about the details of what that intersection will actually, how that intersection will actually be designed and to what level. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, no more questions? Okay, all in favor of setting the public hearing for January 28th? It's carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Seven B, 2019 assessment report. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor Janung and council members. I'm here tonight to present, just give me 1 second here. There we go. I'm here tonight to present to you the 2019 assessment report for the shifts and changes. So the assessment roll has been prepared and an analysis of the changes and shifts is presented to council for information. Assessments are legislated under the Municipal Government Act and are prepared on an annual basis. So the 2019 assessments are based on the economic conditions of July 1st, 2018 and physical condition of the property as of December 31st, 2018. They're prepared using mass appraisal and determine property value is by grouping similar properties as of that specific date. The purpose of assessment is not to reflect a single sale price, but to assess properties at their typical market value on the same valuation date. The average residential single-family assessment is $479,900, up 0.13% from 2018, so it's been in a pretty stable market over the last year. The final growth number was 3.52%, under the budget of 4%. However, the supplementary levy is expected to make up the difference. The 29 assessment split, I'll show you in my report, but just for comparison from last year, 8911 residential, 10.89 non-res, compared to the previous year where residential was 89 and non-residential 11, so slight difference, and that would not be factoring in the CRL. The 2019 assessment split, including the CRL, is residential 86.83, non-residential 13.17, compared to the previous year, residential 86.81 and non-residential 13.19. So for the shifts and changes, like I just said here, the valuation date is based on market conditions of July 1st of the assessment year. So that's kind of important to remember on some of these assessment notices when people get them, that we're about 7 months past our actual valuation date. The condition reflects the physical condition of the property as it was of December 31st of the assessment year, so December 31st of 2018. And here's total taxable assessment is $5,635,446,220, and of that, 8911 is residential, 10.89 non-res, including CRL, 86.83 for the residential, 13.17 for the non-res. Our overall parcel growth for 2018, 3.75%. So 14,505 parcels compared to 13,981 the previous year. Non-residential assessment shift. So the commercials increased 4.2%. Vacant non-residential has increased 36.6%, and industrial decreased 5.1%. So the decrease in that industrial was due to some demolitions on some fairly large industrial buildings which moved to vacant land and are now having some development on them. CRL assessment shift, so you can see last year it was 128 million and this year it's 142 million, so that's about 11% shift in that, mostly due to construction of the Garmin building and some CRUs that were developed last year. So here's our residential, non-residential split by municipality. So as I said before, our split 8911, 1089 for the residential to non-residential. So if we include the CRL in there, then it's 8683, 13.17, which is closer to Okotoks, and Airdrie being the highest at 8451 for their residential, non-residential 15.49. So the total overall change for the single family was a 0.13 increase for the single family duplexes and townhomes, 0.63, and condominiums were down slightly at 1.23. Average single family residential assessment is 479.9. Residential single family parcels increased 3.54% from 7,038 to 7,287. Residential duplex and townhome parcels increased 8.5% from 1,307 to 1,419. So these are the maps that we'll show, and we'll post them on the website as well to show where the shifts are in the different areas. So this one's for the single families, duplex and townhomes, and the condominium assessment shift. Parcel growth was up and overall residential values increased 0.13. Tax rate will change to levy the $27.5 million for 2019 municipal budget requirement. Education requisition is not determined until April and is provided from Alberta Municipal Affairs, and tax rates will be set in May. Assessment notices will be mailed next week. In the council report there, I have January 21st. We're just having a little bit of an issue with the notices, so we're hoping to have them out next week, but we will publish in the local paper and on the website Information is mailed to the community associations regarding the shifts. There's a 60-day review period from the notice of assessment date. Inquiries at cochrane.ca/assessment. You can email us at assessment@cochrane.ca or call our assessors at 403-851-2950 to speak directly to an assessor. And that concludes my report, if there's any questions.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
First question I have is about the CRL. I mean, you showed us a graph with and without. and
Right.
The purpose of that is because we collect that tax and set it aside. But if we were to not have that CRL in place, that's why you're showing us both.
Yes, yes, because without the split, we'd be more in comparison to where Okotoks is.
So the CRL kind of skews the first number. and then
Yeah, if you look
when
back at
include it,
that-
it brings it back
whoops.
to like communities, I guess.
Yeah, so if you're looking at that, yeah, it looks like we have quite a difference to everybody else, but when we include the CRL back in there, then you can see we're pretty close to where Okotoks is. And Airdrie has always been significantly, like a fair amount higher. They do have quite a bit more retail than what we do.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have any other questions. Well, I guess one last one. We're basing our budget on 4% growth in assessment value.
Yes,
You say we have a 3.52% based on your report, but you're
Right.
saying the supplemental
revenue.
revenues will top up and
Should top
we're
up
okay
and-
for 4%
Yeah,
to budget on that.
it looks like it, yes.
Good. Any other questions from council? No? Okay, can I get a motion to, what are we accepting for information? Oh, Pat. Counselor Wilson. Oh, you have a question? Yeah. No, go ahead.
I was going to accept the report as information, taxation report as information.
All right, and Counselor Fedeko, you have a question?
Thanks for the presentation. I only have one question, and again, it comes back to a conversation that I know that you and I had last year about like putting both tax rates on the same bill. Even when we were going through the budget process, there was a lot of people who came back and fired back stating that their taxes were, $4,000 plus some dollars. And again, they're forgetting that that is provincial education tax that we get from the province as well as municipal. Is there a way that you guys have better identified to separate that? Is there anything going to be done differently on these tax bills to maybe reflect more of a separation between those amounts so that people understand that their municipal tax rate is not the whole entire $4,000 that they're looking at, as an example?
Right. Through the mayor to Councillor Fedeko. Yeah, I think last year we did some work on that with trying to separate it out on the actual insert, and believe on the website we can do it as well. Right now, we're to have it on the tax, to actually try and have it on the notice is quite the task to have done. We wouldn't be able to do that this year. We did try to work towards that for this year, but it's having that put on the notice is a little more difficult. So we are still researching better ways to do that, but we're trying to get that out as much as possible. And when people are calling, we're kind of reminding them that there's a portion of it, like a fair sizable portion of it, that is the education portion of it. So
What do some other communities do in this regard? Are they kind of done the same way, or have they come up with something that kind of separates a little bit more, maybe something better than what we're doing?
I think most of it is just getting the information out there, and whether it be, in the paper or on the radio, on the websites, on the, the inserts in the brochures. Not that I know of, I haven't seen it actually on the actual tax notice. So, that would be helpful if we could get to that point, but we're just not there yet, that's for sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. No other questions? All those in favor of accepting his information? Carried. Thank you. Thanks for your report. Finance, none. Motions on notice, don't think we had any from last year. We have one coming next meeting, I think, from last year, from you, yep. Notices of motion. Don't, no, you hold off. Go to the mayor's report. Lots of time for my 2-minute report. Thank you, Councillor Reid. Like I said at the beginning, welcome back, Council. It was a good break. Looking forward to everything we're going to do in 2019. Felt like 2018 was a bit of a planning year. We got a lot of plans done. I look forward to executing some plans in 2019. I went to a whole lot of things, and I'm not going to list them all off. Prior to Christmas, holiday trains and Christmas functions with various groups in town. I think one of the major things we did was a Rocky View Intermunicipal Committee meeting. Councillor Reid, you've got that? Okay, I'll leave that for you. Something interesting I did was I met with the Cochrane Bike Club. They are a new non-for-profit association that are meeting together now to promote Cochrane as a bike-friendly community. It's not just road cycling, but BMX and trails and mountain biking and all forms of bike riding. They're doing this on their own. They're going to make a presentation to council, I think, in February or March. They're going to be coming forward. I met with them just to give them feedback on where they're at. So far, you may see some new stickers. I was going to bring one. I forgot at my office. Part of what they're trying to do is promote Cochrane to be, like I said, more cycle-friendly, but also to bring tourists to our town. And if there's a way through, you would follow the signage, or they would produce a map that would show tourists where to ride or how to get through town, that type of thing. And then there'll be bike stickers, these same stickers in supporting businesses around town to say that you can get the maps here, or you can get directions here, or you can park your bike here if you want. So they've got lots on the go, and it's pretty interesting. CMRB Visioning had our second session. I thought the first one was better than the second one, but at any rate, we had some visioning. It was good, I think, to get the juices flowing, I guess, and thinking that way. I don't know about you, Councillor Wilson, maybe you can weigh in on it, but it was, for me personally, it was good to hear just ideas and negatives and positives about the region, but also it dawned on me that we, Cochrane, need our own vision. And I think we were talking about that late in 2018 about how this council can get together and have a plan for what we think Cochrane needs to be. I mean, there's already a lot of work done by previous councils, but what does this council want to see? So I think we need to set aside some time for that, and I think we've got some in March that we're trying to book for some of the visioning. So that was good. Kiwanis went to their Christmas toy project. I think you've got that on your agenda. Okay. I met with Jordan Copping, the Chief Officer of the CMRB. He was reaching out to all the member communities. Just had lunch with him on the 17th of December to talk about how he could better work with our administration and our team. So that was good. Just want to say a special thank you to the fire department for having their Santa on the fire truck on Christmas Eve. For those guys to spend Christmas Eve driving around. This year was actually balmy, but last year was super cold. To put a Santa on top of the fire truck and drive around to all the communities was pretty cool. And thank you, Councillor Reid, for your suggestion of the food bank donations. They collected an entire truck full of food donations, so pickup truck. So that was a very good suggestion, and they are going to do that every year. So thanks to the fire department. This year, so last Monday, I had an invitation from the Stoney Chiniki elders to come to Morley, talk to their group. It was, I was a little bit nervous, and they even said that, are you nervous? And I was. It was kind of a breakthrough meeting to, we've been trying to reach out and bridge and make connections with our neighbors, and it was their opportunity to invite me out there. So I look forward to having them as a venue to bounce ideas off, to connect with. They are, and they admitted, there are one of 3 groups because they're only representing the Chiniki Nation. So, but it is beginning, and it was a very good meeting. They had questions about our bridge naming. They had questions about what we're doing in Cochrane, that type of thing, and me back to them. So we agreed we would, they meet Mondays and Wednesdays, I believe, and I'm welcome to come any week I want and just pop in and talk to the elders. So one suggestion they had that I'm going to follow up on is they're doing this in Canmore. They meet with the seniors in Canmore and just have seniors to elders meetings, and they are exchanging stories, and they're just good conversation, that type of thing. So I'm going to try to do that, connect them with the Seniors on the Bow group. On kind of a personal aside, Mr. Devana and I have started our training with the firefighters to do the stair climb challenge. This is my official announcement because I've done the stairs twice now and I know it's possible. So now I can come out and say that I'm actually doing it. We are raising funds for the Wellspring Cancer charity in Calgary. This is the bow tower that the fire departments all get together every year on May 5th and climb 55 flights of stairs to the top of the bow tower in as fast as you can in fire gear. So we are doing it in shorts and t-shirts and runners at this point, and struggling to get to the top, and we're training at the fire hall, and we do 20 sets of 3 stories to practice this. So 6:30 in the morning, twice a week. Mr. Devana and I have been down at the fire hall. So if anybody wants to join, I think just to check in, I think Mr. Deans is going to try and make it this week, just to see how it is and give support to the guys. They're always very energetic about this, and it's a good charity, obviously, to raise funds for. My goal is $15,000. So if you don't want to check in, you can always just write a check, right? So that started this week, and my legs are sore. And I did follow up with that interview that I talked about last year with that business magazine. We landed it. So they picked Cochrane to be highlighted in the Business View magazine. It will come out, it's an online magazine in February-ish. I'm going to get and I had the interview on January 10th about Cochrane and what Cochrane's doing and how great we are. So that happened. So I was happy to do that. And then planning for the Mid-Size City Mayor's Caucus is ongoing, lots of work, and Rebecca and Kristen are doing a great job with that. And that is my report, other than I need a motion. I was approached by Seniors on the Bow last week. They are looking to apply for a grant to the New Horizon. It's a federal grant that would help them fund planning and facilitating that's a perfect background noise for the seniors grant. Yeah. So anyways, they're looking to apply for this grant, and they would like a letter of endorsement from council. So to do that, I need a motion to endorse the Seniors on the Bow application to the New Horizon grant. Would you like to do that, Councillor Flowers?
I move that we write a letter for Seniors on the Bow to endorse their application to Senior Horizon?
New Horizon
New
grant
Horizon
application, yeah.
Grant application.
To fund planning and facilitation of the potential new facility. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor of that? Didn't think it would be too difficult. Thank you. And that is my report. Councillor Reid.
Yeah, that was a great report, thank you. Just following on the heels of that, I'd like to ask council to provide a letter of support to the Spray Lake Sawmills Recreation Park Society for a CIP grant. They're looking to be able to get grant funds to purchase internal and external security cameras for both the main entrance and the Cochrane Arena. So I'm looking for a letter of support from council to do so. So I guess I move that?
Okay, it's always good to have groups applying for grants. All those in favor?
Great.
Carried, thank you.
While we're talking about the Spray Lakes, just to indicate that I had a meeting last Thursday. We're looking at the org structure and working our way through that in terms of where we move forward. And just to say that things are operating well, and I'll have a more detailed report later on. We do have another meeting this Thursday, so next council meeting I should be in a better position to speak to that. And then the last item I had was the mayor referred to our working relationship with our neighbors, and in particular the intermunicipal committee with the Rocky View County. We had an excellent meeting. There was myself, the mayor, Councillor McFadden, Mr. Devanna, our CAO, our deputy CAO, and our senior manager of planning, Mr. Heineman. Conversations around annexation. We talked about that earlier this evening, about Spray Lakes and where we're at in terms of that joint committee. Collaboration on a service agreement between the town and the county, which I think will be a really critical document as we move forward. We can expect something in the spring in the form of a draft document. I think what I took from that, and I could be corrected, is it'll indicate who pays for what. It'll get rid of all the assumptions that might have previously existed, and it'll be really helpful for us moving forward. Excuse me. We talked a little bit about the Cochrane Ag Land Committee. We talked about Cochrane or Calgary Northwest Rocky View Recreational Study, in which we'll be party to. And we talked about emergency management, at least the county did, talked about that, and some protocols that might exist between our two municipalities. We've concluded with an update from the county, and they spoke about the Bears Paw Reservoir, and some of you may have heard and recognized the issue that the county raised. Actually, they were just raising a concern, which I think was well-founded, and that had to do with the Elbow River flood mitigation, and they're concerned about the organic silt that might build up there. And just to say that I think it's really important that we continue this relationship, which is very healthy and very good. And the mayor and I will be meeting with Councillor Crystal Kissel tomorrow afternoon. So I think things are going well in at that committee. That would be my report.
Good, thank you. Any other council reports? Councillor Wilson?
Mine are really quick, just to piggyback on the CMRB visioning. I also thought, we've had 2 meetings on that. I thought the first one was more productive than the second, but we're doing a good job of, we have a ton of ideas out there, and now it's about narrowing them and putting them into some sort of useful vision that we can actually bring to council and tell you what direction we're going there as a board. I also agree that coming up with something that's more of a Cochrane vision, because that seems to be somewhere we're lacking, would be a good use of our time this year, and I'm pleased to see we're going to be doing just that. From Cochrane Planning Commission, as there's been some noise made from an email I sent to all you guys, I think our backlit sign policies need some attention, and there'll be more discussions about that upcoming. And I just wanted to make everybody aware that that's something that's being talked about there. Looking forward to the new year and getting more done off the agenda.
Good. Councillor Federico?
Much to report, just that FCSS met last Wednesday, and they're coming forward at our next council meeting looking for endorsement of how they're dispersing the grant money that's coming forward. And they're looking at doing some rebranding this year and just trying to separate out all their different facets. So there might be some renaming and some rebranding that everybody can look forward to.
Okay. Thank you. That's it? Okay. That's it for reports. I think we only have one last item, and that's an in-camera item. So I get a motion to move in camera. Where are we at now? Councillor Wilson, okay.
So moved, and we head in camera.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried, thank you. There will not be any motions or decisions coming out of camera that I foresee, so nothing to hang around for. a motion to come out of camera?
I will,
Councilor Reid?
I would do so. We'll make a motion to come out of in camera.
All in favor? Carried. Thank you. The meeting is adjourned.